Mr. Chairman, and welcome everyone as we're here to consider the nomination of two candidates for leadership of justice, Lisa Monaco to be Deputy Attorney General and Vanita Gupta to be Associate Attorney General. I extend a warm welcome to the candidates and the nominees as well as their families and friends. Lisa Monaco is nominated to serve the second highest ranking position in the department. Serious job, and I applaud President Biden for nominating a serious person to the position. Ms. Monaco has worked to keep Americans safe from violent criminals, terrorists, and cyber threats. She's the type of mainstream pick I would expect from the Democratic nomination or administration. Vanita Gupta has been nominated to serve the Department of Justice as its third highest ranking official. While the Deputy Attorney General generally runs criminal law enforcement, the Associate Attorney General is in charge of the civil side of the department. Ms. Gupta comes before this committee with an impressive career advocating on behalf of various liberal civil rights organizations. She has worked with my office in the past on criminal justice reform, and I appreciate what we've been able to do in that area, and obviously I appreciate the cooperation of Senators Durbin and Lee in that same area. I'm now going to turn to some things that I had a private discussion over the phone with Ms. Gupta. And I told her I would bring these things up in the committee meeting and maybe in my questions. I think that she will have her work cut out for her, showing us that she can represent all Americans in the role that she has been selected for. While some of her career has been admirable civil rights litigation, much of it has been strident liberal advocacy. Her public persona has often been very partisan. So, a legitimate question, will this advocacy affect her work supervising civil, antitrust, environment, civil rights, and tax evasion? To answer those questions is why we have a hearing like this. Her Twitter feed has painted Republicans with a broad brush, describing our national convention last year as 3 nights of quote unquote racism, xenophobia, and outrageous lies. So a legitimate question, how many of our colleagues in this room were there? Of course, Mrs. Gupta has in fact launched Twitter attacks on some of them directly. Will that kind of partisan political advocacy affect her legal advocacy in the role where she represents all Americans? She has attacked the character of many judicial nominees, most of whom are now sitting on the federal bench. She called the confirmation of now Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett, quote unquote, illegitimate. She called Judge Kavanaugh, quote, a privileged lifelong partisan, end quote, whose testimony was, quote unquote, horrifying. She personally signed salacious opposition research dumps on 39 different circuit nominees over the last 4 years. Judges have thick skins, but the fact is that her name is going to be on hundreds, maybe thousands of briefs before those judges whose character she frequently maligned. So, a question, how will she square the kind of even-keeled legal advocacy we expect from our country's top civil lawyer with the kind of unfair political advocacy championing against the very judges she'll be appearing before? She lists Her list of controversial statements is long. Ms. Gupta's prior experience in the Civil Rights Division also is of concern, whether it's the use of grant programs and consent decrees to federalize local law enforcement, the use of Justice Department slush funds to funnel money to liberal nonprofit political allies, or attempts to restrict school choice in Louisiana through decades-old desegregation orders. There's a lot to be concerned about. In the weeks since President Biden took office, we've seen stark changes to the Justice Department, suggesting a rapid return to the Holder era. We need to find out from the nominee if she'll help run the Justice Department for all Americans or be President Biden's progressive wing person. And there I'm repeating how Holder referred to himself vis-a-vis President Obama. I'd like to end by reiterating Ms. Gupta's help on criminal justice reform and acknowledge the strong support she's received from law enforcement organizations. But the fact is that the Associate Attorney General's portfolio includes almost no oversight over criminal prosecution or federal law enforcement. The kinds of targets that will be in her agenda are conservative nonprofits, those who work in natural resource extraction, pro-lifers, religious employees, Google competitors, college students, Republican legislatures, and I suppose you could go on, but I'll stop there. They're the ones who are concerned about Ms. Gupta's nomination, and it's up to her to show us during this hearing and the CUFers that she will get that all these interests don't have any concern. And before I close, I'd like to say how I approach some of the things that deal with the issue of equality. There's a big difference between equal protection and equal outcome. Equality means equal treatment, unbiased competition, impartiality judges outcome. Equity means equal outcomes achieved by unequal treatment, biased competition, and preferential judgment. We all need to go by what the Declaration of Independence said. It's self-evident that all people are created equal. I yield.